That's why I lose. So there. The Kings storylines coming up for the final 27 games. Again, I get stuck in saying the second half of the season, but they've already played 55. So we're basically at the final third of the season. And Sacramento needs to get going. I mean, there's no other way around it for the goals that they want to achieve. And so I think when we're looking at storylines for this team, one of their goals is to be in the top six, to avoid the play-in. Right now, as we speak, that's where the Clippers live at 31-23, and the Kings at 28-27. That's not impossible to make that up, but 3.5 games and also jumping several teams will be difficult. I don't know what the number will be for the 6th seed, but I'm going to guess it's going to be in the mid to upper 40s, probably around 47, 48, somewhere in that range, 49 maybe. And so that's above the range that the Kings have been playing considerably. So I don't believe they're going to get there. I will root for that. But if that's where they want to get to, they better get hot, and they better get hot fast. To be a play-in team, they still have control of that because they are currently a play-in team. I don't love the fact that they are right now 9th, which is what they were a year ago, and they played the 10, which was what it is now, the Warriors. Now, that's a one-game situation. If you're going to pick, you'd rather be 7 or 8 and 7 would be ideal because you're at home for the first game. And if you win, you're the 7th seed. You're done. You're good. If you lose, you have the safety net of being the 8th seed and hosting the 9-10 winner. That's what the situation the Kings were in last year, where New Orleans was the 7 seed, lost to the Lakers. So the Lakers as the 8 went right in as the 7 seed. Then the Kings beat the Warriors, as we mentioned, and then had to go to New Orleans to try to get into the postseason where they would have been the 8th seed and faced OKC. Instead, they lost. Season ended, and we go on from there. So the reality is their best odds are going to be the 7, 8, 9, or 10, or falling out. I mean, that's really what they could be. I mentioned Phoenix in the last segment. Phoenix begins as the 11 seed, and they are 1.5 back of the Kings and the Warriors. Now, the good news is the Spurs are another team I think that are a threat, but they are 3.5 back. That's doable, but they got to get hot. The Kings still face them. Other teams like tonight, Phoenix plays the Spurs. So one of them is going to lose. One of them is going to win. These are all good and bad things going forward for the Kings. So kind of one of the storylines to the Kings to watch is how many will it take for them to get into the top 6 as far as how many wins, or just be a play-in team. And I said yesterday, this is more doable than it's been in the past. That 10 spot is going to be around 42, 43, 44 wins, I think. That's not playing that much above 500. That's kind of what the Kings have been. And they've been a little bit better than that under Doug Christie. So more of that, though, keep this in mind. I do believe the Kings have a pretty difficult schedule in this last third of the season. The Kings still to come have a 7-game homestand, which is kind of unheard of. And following the 7-game homestand, they have a 6-game road trip. So a 13-game stretch, which is really the bulk of it's half of the 27 games remaining, are those 2 stretches. Now, I want to read to you the homestand that they have. That's like, good, they're coming home for 7 games in mid-March. They host Memphis, who's currently the 2 seed. They host Cleveland, who's the 1 seed and the best record in the league. The very next night, they host Chicago. Okay. Then Milwaukee comes to town. How about this for a home back-to-back? Boston and OKC. And then they wrap up the homestand with Portland. So 7 games. I would say 5 of those extremely difficult. Others aren't gimmies. So that's a portion of the schedule the Kings are going to have to navigate. But when you finish that 7-game homestand, then you hit the road for a 6-game road trip that goes Orlando, Indiana, Washington, Charlotte. Okay, not impossible, but still road games. Cleveland, Detroit. And so when you're trying to think about how many wins are ahead for the Kings, again, this is an impossible exercise. It's kind of a wasted energy, but we try to do it because it's so hard to predict. Yeah, that energy I'm talking about. And you were quick on that button today. But it is